Welcome friends, it is I, your host, and it's time for the vlog. In the background is going to be Zeus in Arena, and I remember how this one goes. It's interesting to see how that one goes. People want me to go ADC Zeus, so I went ADC Zeus. I'll be honest, I wish I went Mage Zeus, but I did alright. You'll see. You'll see how I feel about this game. Alright, so, talking about the SWC. What else is there to talk about besides, I guess, Hou Yi, or Hi Yi? And SWC, so as of this recording, the quarterfinals just ended. I probably shouldn't say who won, but I can talk at least about the teams, their performances a little bit, in a way, and it might be fine. The first day of the SWC, we see why NA and EU, I feel, should have been the only regions for the first SWC, because the other regions just were not up to snuff, and there's reasons for that. One is, their clients don't have the entire game. The other is, they don't have as much experience as NAEU. They need another year to develop. Instead of that happening, like, just put them in there. They sent lambs to the slaughter. Hi-Rez sent lambs to the slaughter. I think it would have been better as an NAEU battle again. The launch tournament was amazing. SWC would definitely be amazing if it was NA and EU battling it out. Instead, we saw quite a few lump-sided matches. A lot of, actually, lopsided matches. A lot of them were. We just saw people getting clobbered. The only real standout, of course, was OMG. OMG stood out because they actually had a chance till they got clobbered. Ugh. And then, when we got to see the other regions fight each other, we got to see more exciting battles because they were more on each other's level than they were compared to NAEU. Then today in the quarterfinals, we get to see NAEU fight the other regions again, and the results were as expected, unfortunately. We got to see a little bit more fight out of Bacon. We did not get to see much fight out of OMG. And there you go. And I think I just gave away how those went, but they just needed more time to develop. They really did. And it's just disappointing. I think Hi-Rez made a mistake there. Hi-Rez definitely made a mistake there because they don't even have complete clients over there. They don't have all the gods. And they just don't have the time. China was impressive here and there, but just not enough to be impressive enough. They just weren't impressive enough to pull it out. And then Brazil and I don't, was it Mexico? I'm not sure it's Latin America, and you know what, I'm not even going to try, but those two, 404 and Bacon, 404 not so great, but Bacon put up a bit of a fight, but they didn't make it, and they just don't have complete clients. They don't. They're missing gods. Maybe Latin America is missing, but I know China's missing gods. They don't have everybody. And that's not good. It was a mistake putting them in this tournament. It's nice to see what they could do. It gives people hope for next year, and that's good. People will be coming back going, they can't wait to see how the Chinese do in the next SWC. But at the same time, it's just not as good. People were bored with some of these matches, and I understand why. Because some of them were just not there yet. And it falls on Hi-Rez for that, for not giving the complete client and just not having the foresight on that. I'm critical of Hi-Rez because I know they could do better, and you can see hindsight's 20/20, but it's just, you could see it coming. You could tell that even from the beginning what was going to happen. It's not really hindsight, it's just you saw it coming. Like, I'm not the only one who sees this coming. I think it was obvious what was going to happen here. We were going to see something out of these guys. Maybe they'll do some really good tricks and everything, which they did, but they are fighting people who have way more experience at this game than they do. And it's what happened. That is definitely what happened in this tournament, so it's unfortunate there. And I don't think I'm overcritical in my criticisms. I think I'm trying to be reasonable here. I'm not trying to, because I try to think about what I'm saying a little bit before I actually say them. So, like, am I right in this feeling or am I wrong in this feeling? Sometimes, like, I'm being too critical on that, and sometimes I'm not being very critical, or critical enough. But that's definitely a criticism, is they should have the foresight on that, because a lot of people, it was obvious to them, it was going to go this way. It really was. And of course, it hurts the people who are like, these other NA and EU teams deserve a slot. And in a way, yeah, because they were really good. They definitely would be superior to some of these teams. But it is what it is in that way when you have regions and such. But I think it probably should have just waited another year. Definitely should have waited another year. The one criticism I really have, and it's got its pros and cons to it, and that is, this is a professional thing. It's esports, right? You got to be professional. But the SWC is not holding to their schedule at all, and that's not good. The advantage for the globalization of it is, because they're doing them sooner, people who have to stay up late, they'll watch it live, they don't have to stay up as much, but then the other side of it is the people who are scheduling their day around the matches. they're having a bit of a problem here, because they're trying to get things done around the matches so they can watch the matches and do whatever else they need to do with their lives, and they can't, because the matches are just coming up sooner. The other thing is just there's no real intermission going on. People need time to go have lunch. People need time to go do this or do that, to do meets, like, to meet people. A couple hour chunk lets you do that. When it's just like a half an hour chunk between the matches or whatever, because they're just doing them quicker, so everyone can just leave sooner, you kind of ruin the experience a bit for people attending and for people watching. It's nice for those who are not in the main areas, like, if you're not in NA, like, NA is the one who's got the prime time slot, of course. You get to watch everything throughout your day, while the other regions have to watch in the middle of the night or really early in the morning, stuff like that. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of the nature of anything global. Like, when there's a tournament in the EU, it's going to be the same thing for people in NA and the other areas. Because you would assume that they'll do more major tournaments. They won't just have the major SWC. They'll have a huge one in America, they'll have a huge one in the EU, and probably in Asia. They'll have more big tournaments. That's what's going to happen in the future if they're able to pull it off, and I think they will. They've been able to get the money for it, and so we'll see more big tournaments in different time zones, and you got to hold to your schedule. You just have to hold to your schedule, because you will screw people over, and they will not like that. It is a professional thing you have to do here. Other sporting events, if you want to be like sports, although you don't necessarily have to be like sports, but because esports really wants to be like other sports, then you have to hold to your schedule. Boxing doesn't do matches ahead of time. You just do things at the right time. Like, it's pretty tentative how... Okay, the way boxing works is they have the time for these matches, and all the matches preliminary to the main fight, they will come up in whatever time. Like, they'll like, this one's done, alright, give it a little bit of time, now we'll put the next match, put the next match. When it comes to the main event, it's at the same time every single time. It is only at that time. Now, if they're treating it like that, then I'm a little bit more okay with it. Like, the final day, if the finals are at the time they said, I'm fine with it. If they do the finals early, people will flip the fudge out. And they deserve to flip the fudge out, because Sunday is a busy day. This is the last day before the weekend ends. You're going to be doing things around, you're going to be scheduling your day, your life, around the finals of the SWC. Maybe even the semifinals. I mean, the consolation, I don't know. Not everyone likes consolation matches, even though it'll be pretty good. People will be scheduling their lives around that grand final. That is for sure. And if you do it early, oh, there's going to be some unhappy people, and they might not come back next time because they just don't like that. Or people will be using it as ammunition for why Hi-Rez is not as great as they could be. And yeah, Hi-Rez makes mistakes, they do things right, and they make mistakes, they do things right. That's Hi-Rez for you. Hi-Rez does that. That's been their track record for as long as they've been alive, and that's just how it is. And I accept that, but you gotta get called on your mistakes anyway. If you don't get called on your mistakes, then you're not going to learn from them, right? My mistakes, I got to learn from mine. Everyone's got to learn from their mistakes. You have to learn from your mistakes. If no one points out mistakes, then nobody fudging learns. Luckily, I'm not the only one pointing out mistakes. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, but there are some people who are being a little more vicious about the mistakes Hi-Rez are making. I don't see it as insidious or anything. It's weird how some people see things as insidious. But I really hope they do better with their scheduling. If the grand final at least stays to schedule, then I'll be fine with that. But the semifinals should stay to schedule, which I assume they're not going to. Like I said, this is post-quarterfinals, not before the semifinals, so we'll see how they do that part of it. But when you schedule an event, you have to be on time. That's just how you do it, because you got to give people time to do things. You don't just keep throwing the matches at them, even though people like a lot of matches. That'll be for that crowd, but you need to have for another crowd, other things. You got to do some sort of balancing act between it all. We've been talking about Hou Yi a little bit. I've only seen this kid, haven't played him yet because I don't play the PTS. I don't play the PTS because it's unfinished. Whatever I see in the PTS could not be the finished product, and that's what happens. It's happened before where gods get nerfed or buffed after the PTS. It's like, okay, well, everything I learned, not as important right now. And some things just don't get through. That's just how it is. So I haven't played Hou Yi. I've seen his kit, and it's a curious kit. It feels a bit all over the place, but you get what he's trying to do. He's like a Wheelix, where he's a counter to something. Like, they said the focus of the next season is to make gods who make ban picks more interesting. Like, if there's a lot of leap gods, then a Wheelix will be good against that. Now we have Hou Yi, who can basically see when you're invisible, is my understanding, if he gets the mark on you, which is very useful. Basically, you want to put that mark on the enemy jungler most of the time. Put that on the enemy jungler, you know where the hell they are. That'd be very useful. But his kit's kind of weird. Like, he's got this anti-crit, which allows him to, I guess, box kind of well with physicals. Which is nice there, but then you got his first ability, which bounces around, so he's good for hitting things in the jungle. Can kind of hurt somebody if they're along a wall. Like if Honor help push someone, I guess, into a wall, he can help out as well. You'd have to have Honor with you. No, that's not gonna, that's a really weird one. I guess him and Herc could do that. Herc pushes someone into a wall and then he does that. That'd be good. Or Ymir wall, actually. That'd be a really good one, just for that ricochet bounce. Might be a really good one there. Ymir plus Hou Yi seems like a good plan to me. Ymir wall freeze, Hou Yi does the bounce, does a lot of damage there, maybe even gets his ult and everything else. Because, of course, you mark him, you can stun him as well. Then there's his 3, which is a low helicopter move. Is a curious idea. I don't think it goes over walls, though. Then his ultimate, of course, is a Zeus ult. But it's a lot worse than a Zeus ult, in my opinion. I'm not actually sure on the size of that. Like, I think it's Zeus Vulcan size. I could be wrong on that. I might be wrong by some dimensions there. But what's that Zeus ult gonna do for a hunter, right? Cupid's ult's nice because it is a cripple. They can't get out. They get hurt. Hou Yi's one, you'll just jump out of it. Even though it puts a slow on the marked target, they just jump out of it, dash out of it. They're gonna get away. There's no cripple on the mark. That thing's gonna get ignored just like Zeus's ult gets ignored. At least Zeus's ult puts a detonate. Like Hou Yi's doesn't put anything. So I don't actually know what's gonna happen with that at all. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do? I don't know. So Hou Yi is a weird kid. He looks like a Nuwa kid to me. Nuwa was all over the place when she first came out. Hou Yi's all over the place a bit. But you see what his counter pick potential is. I'll see what other gods come out. And it's the right move for the second season. To have these gods that are a little more niche. Because you need that. You need specific counter pick gods to really round out the roster. Because we just have a ton of just burst gods. That's all we got, really. A sheet ton of burst gods and ADCs and some setup people, but the majority of the gods is just burst, and that's why it's called the burst meta currently, since the warrior meta is gone. And I agree with that feeling. Let's go back to the SWC, talking about let's see, lessons that can be learned. So what's important about things is you can learn some things from casual queue. You learn a lot of what not to do in casual queue. You can learn from watching the pros a lot of things, how to play a coordinated team, how good coordination can be. Really good picks and build and stuff like that. It's really good to learn that stuff. And then from ranked, you can learn... There's some other things you can learn from ranked, but it's a mix of what you can learn from casual and from pros, because you learn better builds, better communication, stuff like that. There's things to learn from all three. That's why I participate in the casual queue and I watch the pros a bit. I don't really do ranked as much because ranked has been abysmal for a lot of my viewers. I'm just going, oh, if it's bad for them, I don't really know if I'm going to learn anything. I probably learn better from casual queue, because a lot of people are telling me casual queue is just better than ranked. It's like, oh, crap. Alright, I'll just stick with that. But I'm going to do at least ranked for getting the icon, maybe get Baka. I don't think I'm going to get the Baka, but I'll at least get the icon. I assume I'll be in bronze or silver, because, let's face it, I'm not that good. I think if I put in the time, I could get gold or platinum if I really put in the time for it, but I don't have the time to do that. Because my biggest problem, we all know, is that because I play every single god so I can analyze them all and be helpful to beginners, means I'm not good at anybody. Like, I'm average with every god, and to excel, you have to be amazing at some gods. I'm good with Bastet, I'm good with Baka, I'm good with certain gods, but I don't play them enough to be that amazing level. Arachne is probably the one god I played enough to be at that amazing level, because I could do some amazing things with her back in the day, but that's not that anymore. But you can learn a lot. But the things I noticed from the first day of SWC is, one was in the OMG match, they had a chance to beat Titan, and the reason why they lost, besides Titan rallying back, was because they just did not know how to finish the match. They just didn't. They had a lead, but they didn't know how to close it. And this is something you see a lot in casual queue. You see a lot in my matches. When I eventually lose it is, we had this huge lead, but my team doesn't know how to do objectives. They just run around and get more kills or just farm, but they don't know that they should be taking out towers. Like, the Guardian doesn't know he can tank a tower while his Hunter kills the tower. Like, both of them don't realize how effective they can be, and it's really frustrating to watch that. My problem is I'm the jungler most of the time. I jungle, I get a lot of kills, but I can't kill towers unless I'm Loki or Baka, and since I'm not always playing Loki or Baka, I can't do it for my team. They need to do it themselves. I can try to tell them to do it, but they don't always do it, and it's really frustrating for that. And we saw that with OMG, where they were ahead. They were doing some good work, but they didn't take an objective on some of those chances. And because of that, oof, they did get the Gold Fury pretty well, but that was contention. Like, they were getting those in contention. They weren't getting those for free. When they had times to get free towers, they had a couple opportunities for that, and they just didn't do it. The other lesson to learn is, holy crap, support is the most stagnant meta ever. I thought Hunters were pretty stagnant, but I was wrong. Hunters, you can build a little bit. You can go Devo, you can go Heartseeker, you can go Transcendence, you can build all these other things. But supports, the first 3 or 4 items, it was the exact same build the entire tournament so far. Watcher's Gift, Gold Boots, Sovereignty. And you get why, because those are pretty effective. You're going to be in the lane quite a bit with Watchers, or you're going to be around for last hits quite a bit when you have Watchers. And then Gold Boots gives you a lot of gold for your roaming, and then Sovereignty, well, it keeps everyone alive longer. And that's why everyone gives me flack for not going Sovereignty whenever I play support. But that's because I'm in casual queue. In casual queue, I play it different than you would play on the pros. The pros are they're very good at coming together for team fights. In casual queue, most of the time you're alone, or you're setting someone up for someone else, but you're not really team fighting in a way. It's more just setting up. And with the cooldown armor, I'm able to set up better than I would have had Sovereignty. That's the way I play. And I don't get Watcher's Gift because I roam so much. That's the difference between me and pros, obviously, because I just don't do enough with the Watcher's Gift to warrant having it. And that's the difference. That's just because I play so much casual queue. If I played the higher level, if I played ranked and got into Platinum or Diamond, you'd definitely see me do more of that similar build to the pros, because I have teammates I would assume I can trust more because they're at the higher level. But at the lower level, I think you kind of have to go lone wolf a little bit, and that's how I do what I do. And that's the hard part for supports, is you have to be able to trust your teammates. And if you can't, then you got to do things yourself. And it's hard to do that in solo queue. It really is. Even in ranked it can be, but at least there's Curse Chat to help you maybe get that to happen. But you can, of course, just do 3-mans in casual queue and do alright. The other lesson was, well, besides just finishing, one team fight can decide everything. SK versus Cog Red, if I remember correctly. That fight was decided by one team fight. That entire game is decided by one team fight. That was what was amazing. And you see that in some of my casual games as well, as a lot of fights happen, and then one team wipes the other, and then they just win it. And that can happen. That really happens pretty well. And that's what happened. That's just the thing that happens, is when you know what you're doing at the highest level, if you can get a wipe, you can finish the game. That's what happens. And casual queue, you don't see that. You don't see people who understand that. And that's just something you learn and understand. And that's just unfortunate. Now, if you can get a 5-man pre-made, you can do that pretty well. 3-man might be able to pull it off. I think if you do a 3-man, you want to get the duo and the jungle. The duo and the jungle together could probably win a game. They could probably carry the solo in the mid as long as the solo and mid don't farm. At least in my opinion. A 3-man like that could probably do it. Because you got the duo under your umbrella there. You got them doing the actual pushes they need to do. The jungle's getting the kills, and you should be able to win it. Because if you got at least those 3 focusing on objectives, you can win the game, regardless of the other 2, as long as they don't feed. In my opinion. I think it's enough about Smite. Work on the arena guide. That arena guide's halfway done. Just working on the footage and everything. It's possible and also impossible to get all the footage that perfectly matches what you say for a guide. But I have things that can be examples here and there, but it's not easy to do, right? And sometimes you just have to have on the screen something different from what you're saying, just because you just couldn't get that perfect shot. Because if you just keep trying to get the perfect shot, you're going to be 10 hours more than you need to be into a project, and that's not good. And if I want to make more guides, I need to not do that. So I'm going to try to match up footage, but it's not going to be perfect, because you can't be perfect without sacrificing time. And time is the most precious commodity, and we don't have a lot of that. One more week before I go back to school, which is really going to cut into time. I'm going to be doing studies and stuff like that, of course, and other things. And so that is going to cut into my time a little bit, but we're definitely working on projects and making sure we get things done. And because I've been having such terrible times in Conquest, I think the way I'm going to take Conquest for a while is just learning from mistakes. Learning from my mistakes and other people's mistakes. So we might see quite a few losses in Conquest. Unless my things start turning around with Conquest. I don't know, but we're going to see a lot of me just going over learning in Conquest. While for Arena, it's going to be more just experimenting with builds and just having fun running against the other team, and we'll see how that goes. And assaults whenever they happen. Wolf Among Us is the LP right now. Wolf Among Us is amazing. And the problem with that game is because there's so much dialogue, I'm trying to be fun with and trying to be interesting and just say some thits. And sometimes I say some good stuff, sometimes I don't. It's a hit or miss. So I feel like Wolf Among Us it's going to be fun to watch just the game on its own. With me on top of it, it's pretty good. But I don't think I'm strong enough to make it really entertaining through, like, right now I think the game itself is the main player of this LP. For sure. It's such a good game for that. And I could, if I was better at this, I could probably match it, be even with it, and just be just as entertaining. But I'm not good enough yet, that's for sure. So it's something to learn from. The LP after is going to be amazeballs. I'll tell you that. The next two LPs, what we have planned for after Wolf Among Us and after that LP are going to be amazing as balls. Those are going to be ridiculous, and I am going to be so happy with those LPs. I already know it. Because those, of course, will give me room to talk and interact. But also, they're just going to be really good games. And I cannot wait to do them. Like, Wolf Among Us is such a good game. The story's amazing. It's so good. But I can't infuse myself much into it because I'm just not that good yet. That's a criticism for myself, is I know I'm not good enough yet. But I know there's potential to do it, because if you're good enough, you can make anything really good. Even when you don't have a lot of room. That means you have to have tight jokes, good punches. You make a quick joke here and there. That's how you do it. And I'm not good enough to do that yet. But I know the potential is there in the future. That's for damn sure. Let's see here. One shot was defense grid. The next one shot after is... that's an interesting one shot. I got a couple other one shots I want to do. We're going to see some pretty interesting one shots. They're all, of course, indie games. Pretty good games. Like, I recommend a lot of them, of course. Like, I wouldn't put them, I didn't recommend them. The only time I put a game I wouldn't recommend was Even Patuti, because that was just so stupid. Oh my god, the game was just so dumb it was worth sharing. Because it was hilarious. I enjoyed how bad that game was, and that's rare. We'll be getting back to the stream schedule this following Monday, so we're going to get the Valkyrie Chronicles. We're going to finish that out, and I think it's almost over, and then we'll move on to the next LP for that, and it'll be a different game. It won't be an RPG. It'll be different. Well, it has RPG elements, I guess. And then, of course, we do Smites Tuesdays and Fridays. Then Thursday will be up in the air. I think this coming Thursday I might not be around because of family business, but we'll see. But there's a lot of things coming up, and I guess I shouldn't talk about the secret project yet. But, like last year we did a Stowski guy in Last Light, which was an amazing project. That was great. That was so damn fun to do. And we're going to do some sort of project again this year, a different project. Like, we always do new projects to learn. That's what's important. Just keep doing different project, another project, another project. You keep learning. Then Smashes will be coming up, of course. And then a lot of projects, as you know, we do a lot of things here. They're all coming up. Should be a lot of fun. And, yeah. Let's see, what else? Anything else? So a bit of philosophy to end the day. End the vlog. There's this one thing I worry about, and you notice me worrying about, and that is inference. People inferring something insidious. And you've heard me worry about it. So, I'm going to talk about the COG Red game against OMG, the second match. They pick Naya for support and Zeus for ADC. This gets seen as a troll pick. And I can see how that could be seen as that way. But both can be pretty good when played very well. And since we're talking pros here, they're going to get played pretty well. Naya does a great job in that match. Naya does what you know they can do. The only problem for Naya is not getting killed after they do their good stuff, and they did a good job of that. They just played them very well. It's not like Naya is a terrible god, but they're a bit more risky than other gods. And so people inferred that it was BM, and I didn't see it. It's just them shaking things up, playing it a bit different, and they were able to do well with it. Now, what I can see other people just seeing also as BM is just how long COG Red took to win that game. It was a very lopsided match. And yeah, I feel like they did take a while. I don't know if there was miscommunication or what at the end there, but a lot of people saw it as them BMing, and I don't know if I want to take it that far. But there were a lot of things where I just saw a lot of hate for COG Red going on in the Smite game chat. 40,000 people watching, a lot of hate going on for them, a lot of people saying they're doing BM, and I just didn't see it until that later in the game when it looked like they were hesitating for some reason. When they didn't have to, it looked like they could have won the game already and they were taking a while. Do not know what they were trying to do there. I think it was just I really don't know. I could be giving them an excuse and maybe they were BMing, but it's ridiculous to see how insidious inference happens. See the same thing with Hilda Biscuit. He retweeted some charity that's being backed by Gamergate, I think it was. And a bunch of people flipped the fudge out. It's a charity, is what it is, but because it's attached to Gamergate, some people flipped out and gave TB crap for it, and there's no reason for it. Like, they saw this insidious evil to it. It's like, it's a charity. It's really unfortunate and weird, and so that's why we see me worried about it because I talk about giveaways, and a lot of people put a lot of negative inference on giveaways. People see it as people only using that to get ahead or something like that. Like, they only see negatives to giveaways, besides the fact that they're giving something for free for someone to enjoy. It's really weird to see so much negativity attached to it. And I want to do giveaways because it's a fun thing to do. I see it always as a positive thing. It's like, great, people get things for free. What's wrong with that? I don't see it as this, oh, this guy just wants views. Oh, this guy just wants followers. Or this lady just wants followers. Like, I don't see it that way. But a lot of people do, and that's the ones that worry me, because they're the ones who can just poop the party for everyone else. It's very worrying there. It's very unfortunate. So, I don't know. I'm scared of that. I really am, because it's weird. But then again, it is kind of just crazy people feeling that way. There are just crazy people who are just negative no matter what you do, and those are also people I don't want to deal with, but I know I will have to deal with. And it's just weird. It really is. It's unfortunate, but it's a thing that happens in the internet. I don't want to deal with it, but I'm going to deal with it, basically. Oh, one more point, Hi-Rez. The fuck with Alquang? He's not, like, his nerf wasn't real, and we knew he was going to be strong in the SWC. And he has been. He has a 100% win rating right now in the SWC. He hasn't lost a single match. No surprise there. Alquang is strong. He's kind of a magical Circuit. Circuit actually has things you can do against her. Alquang not as much, because there's a lot more physical defense things than there are magical defense things, so Alquang kind of gets some free reign. The only way to beat him, of course, is just catch him, which is not easy to do. It's very hard to catch him. Also, he's got that execute to just get the hell out of there. Alquang is effective, very effective. He needs to be nerfed, and he will probably be nerfed after the tournament. Though he should have been nerfed prior to the tournament. So it's really weird that they just let him go. And people were saying, why didn't they ban him? Or like the other one, why didn't they ban Thor? There's so many gods to ban. There's a lot of gods worth banning in Smite. And when it comes to the pros who are effective with so many gods, it goes up even more so. Like, you wouldn't see certain gods getting banned in ranked, but in the pro scene, you would see them get banned. Like, they're saying, why didn't they ban Thor? Well, they had other things to worry about. And also, I'm talking about OMG against Cog Red. Also, maybe they thought they had a handle on Thor with that. They saw it once, maybe they could deal with it the second time. They proved they couldn't. But there's just so many gods that worth banning when you're fighting the pros, that any choice you make is going to be a good and a bad choice. And people can say, well, they didn't ban Thor, so why they should have regretted it. And it's the other part of it is they should have been able to make adjustments towards that Thor as well. They weren't able to. And that's just it with that. Realization is there's still a little bit more to talk about, isn't there? The new Conquest map. Holy crap. Conquest map. Looks great. Looks amazing. Lava side amazing. Boat side amazing. Gold Fury amazing. Just got a rock and rack, that's for damn sure. Fire Giant looks amazing. Him in the chest looks cool. Chest. The new buff camp looks really cool. Everything looks great, obviously. Everything looks amazing, of course. They're gonna mess with the jungle, which means we're gonna have to make another jungle guide. And, I don't think they're messing with the core lanes, though. It looks like they're just going to mess with the jungle, and that's it. It'll be interesting to see how that changes things, and they said there might be a new buff camp. I don't know what it could possibly be. I'm assuming it might be the HP regen and defense buff coming back. It might be that. I can't think of any other buff you can have that's just a straightforward stat buff. That's the only one I can think of, because we got those at the end. Damage buff, speed buff, mana cooldown buff. The only thing left would be defense and HP, and I think that's it, really. There's, what other stats can you do? After that, it's just whatever wildly random IDs you could have. That's about it. Maybe a lifesteal buff? That'd be a weird one, wouldn't it? Or, I don't know. A bubble buff? Now that would be weird as well. How long would that last? I don't know. But, yeah. The new map's gonna be amazing. The thing is, frame rates is my concern. What's the frames going to be like? People are saying, they said it's going to be better frames. How the fudge is that going to be better frames? Look at that map. It is leagues above the current map. How do you get better frames out of that? Like, how are potatoes going to be able to run that? I think there's going to be a lot of burnt potatoes when this is over. Maybe I'm wrong, though. What's important is, we have to hope I'm wrong. That's it. We have to hope that I'm wrong and the frame rates are going to be great, because the frame rates do not look like they're going to go well with that. But if it does, yay. Basically, just yay. It's a good thing if those frame rates improve. But it just visually looks so amazing. How could it? And the coolest touch is the Gold Fury flies around. He's going to just fly around and watch the fight, and then go to her place before you fight her. That's a pretty cool idea. That's really nice. That's awesome. And also, the tower's going to show battle damage that reflects their HP. And then each camp is going to be different. That's just cool. That's really cool. And of course, the leashing is going to be different when it comes to the jungle camps. That's very important. So it's going to be great to see all of that. And of course, the other thing I left out was some of the other region teams. They just did not have the visas for all their players, so they had to bring in subs. I believe 404 was one of them, DID, and people were saying, oh my god, also had to have subs. If this is true about oh my god, then they could have done a lot better, I'm sure. And I think Bacon's the only one that didn't have visa trouble. But that's another excuse you can give them, was they had visa trouble, and also just they just don't have as much time to develop as the other regions did. Simple as that. And it does hurt to not see, of course, Digi and all the other teams because they weren't able to play. But I don't know. I think I stand by my criticisms on those, because there's just stuff. But also, you can say the other side of things is, because they have these other regions, we get to see a look at them. We can be excited of them for next year. I think I already said that. So there's two sides to that one, and either one, I don't know. You could argue well for either one, I think. But people are definitely looking forward to seeing what the other regions can do next year, and at least there's that. But yeah, now that's everything. At the end of the day, I make my opinions, and I know I'm not going to get everyone to agree with me, and that's fine. You're never going to get everyone to agree with you, but you got to make your opinion known. Or you at least have to think about your opinion. Think about your opinion, then make your opinion, and go from there. If we don't have opinions, why even think, right? But I know that I'm not going to always have people agree with my opinions. I'm going to make enemies, I'm going to make friends with my opinions. That's just how life is, and that's just how it goes. That's why I make my opinions. I am scared to make my opinion sometimes, though. And like, if I make my opinion, it could rattle the cage a bit, and that's why I don't talk about some of the more controversial things. But I'll talk about things here and there, and I don't think I'm wrong to be critical of Hi-Rez, like I said already. I'm not going to gain any friends from being critical of Hi-Rez, but I feel like you just have to point out what could be done better. Because then maybe they'll hear it, and maybe they'll think about it. Because if no one says anything, that's even worse. Alright, now the vlog's done. Just made it a little bit longer because I didn't talk about the Conquest map, which is kind of important to talk about. There you go. Now it is the vlog. Thanks for coming by, everybody. See you next time.
Careful, middle. Okay. An enemy has been slain. Be right back. Retreat! Retreat left lane! Sorry.